Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about order of operations in Matlab. Now, PEMDAS is still a thing. As a reminder, Matlab does this thing on the side where it does output on the right, and I like output in line. So if you remember, PEMDAS is, P is parentheses, so it's these thingies. E is exponents, which is this. If you've done Python, it's this. That's dumb. But it's just the thingy, the little caret thingy that's on the 6. MD goes together. So it's not multiplication and then division. It's multiplication and division at the same time, in the same precedence, I guess, in the same order. So like if you see division and then multiplication, then either one is fine. So it could be PEMDAS, like you could do division first if it comes first, or you could be PEMDAS or whatever. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't really matter which one comes first, but they're equal. Okay, so PEMDAS, and then the A and the S. Oh, multiplication is the times sign, the little asterisky thingy. Division is the slashy thing that's next to the question mark. It's the forwardy one, the one that's like leaning forward. It's not the one that's above the enter key. That's like considered a backslash. It's the one that's the forward slash. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, if you come down here, if you go 3 divided by 1, you'll get 3. If you go 3 wrong direction 1, you'll get... Thank you for not being helpful. Wait, yeah, that's definitely not helpful because 3 undivided by 1 is apparently a third, which is clearly wrong. So I don't even know what that's supposed to be. It's some kind of stupid, weird thing. I think it's a left division, has to do with some kind of matrix thing. Anyway, it's wrong. So whatever that is, that's not division, so we don't want to do it. So multiplication and division in the same order, left to right, like the same order, like the order left to right. And then AS is addition and subtraction. And again, addition is just the plus sign and subtraction is just the minus sign. Again, at the same time, in the same precedence, in the same order as seen from left to right. So again, this could be subtraction, subtraction, addition, I'm spelling funny words. Just however you happen to see it. So no matter what, it's always parentheses, 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 then all the exponents, and then all the divisions and multiplications. And then once you get done with all those, then you do all the additions and subtractions. I'm giggling like a 10-year-old. Okay, so does that make sense? Okay, I'm gonna delete all that because I giggle a lot. Okay, all this seems super straightforward, but there's a couple of things that can go wrong. A couple of things to worry about. Be careful. If you put two numbers together side by side, they don't necessarily they don't multiply by each other. So like if I go in and I say 3 times 6, it doesn't do anything. Similarly, if you put two numbers together with parentheses, they don't multiply by each other. So if I try to do 3 times 6, that's like, it's like, what are you trying to do? Oh, it's already not running this, so I have to get mad at that. It's like, did you mean 3 times 6, like a subtle 6? Even if you try to do this, that doesn't fix it. You have to put the times if you want it to multiply. So that doesn't work. That super duper doesn't work. So that doesn't work. What else doesn't work? if you if you forget to put a closing parenthesis, it doesn't work. So if I go 3 plus 2 times, see, it automatically puts that in there for you. But if I delete it for some reason, it's like, I don't think you did that on purpose. Then it gets mad at you. So that also doesn't work. Finally, let's see. Another thing to note is that a negative sign in front of a number, I can't spell, of a number is a negation. I don't know how else to say it. It's a negation, not a is it a subtraction? I don't know how to describe this, but you gotta follow regular math rules. I love it whenever I say things that have question marks in front of it. So basically the idea is if you have negative 3 squared, well, in math, so in regular math, when you have 3, oh, you can do these things in math, by the way. You can insert, there's like little things up here where you can insert an equation. You can be like, insert 3 squared, right? So if you have negative 3 squared, regular math, right, that's negative 9, right? But if you have, ooh, I'm gonna do this again. I feel super powerful. And then if I was gonna put this in parentheses, squared, that would equal positive 9, right? Okay. Ooh, look at that. So these two things are written like this, just like they are in math. So those give you positive 9 and negative 9. So it's going to negate the answer to 3 squared. I don't know how to describe that. So basically it's a negative 1 times, maybe I should do it that way. A negative sign is a negative 1 times the number. There we go. So follow regular math rules, exclamation point. There we go. So again, it's like really what it's doing here is it's doing negative 1 times, or negative, I've got a kitty helping me now, negative 1 times 3 squared. So it's doing negative 1 times 9, which is negative 9, okay? So as opposed to this one here, which is doing negative 3 times negative 3, which is positive 9. Make sense? Kind of. So this is a super normal thing to get confused or to get wrong or to get whatever because it's super annoying and things like this go wrong. So I tend to give people a lot of practice. Let me see if I can go find some of those. Hold on. Let me pause this for a second. Okay, so let's try these. I'm going to do something a little different. Also, just because we haven't done this before. I'm going to mess up my screen. I'm going to undock this just so you can see everything. So I'm going to undock this. And now it's a little bit bigger. If you ever get something weird and you don't like the way it looks, you can always come back over here and under layout, you can go back to default and then it'll put everything back where it goes and it'll be beautiful and perfect. But I'm gonna undock this just so that you can see. All right, so my recommendation is to pause this. Now notice I pasted these in the text box because if I pasted them in a code block, you would be able to see if any of them made errors because they would underline in red. So I posted them in a text block so you could kind of look at them. But the idea is could you think about these and identify what the answers were before you saw them or before you ran them? So this is the thing with programming, is if you can't figure it out, at least in a small example without coding it, you don't understand it. If you can't kind of code and figure out what the code does without running it, you don't know what the code does. And so in my videos, I like to do things like try and figure this out and pause it and think about it. And then if it makes sense, great. So I'm going to pretend that you do that. So in theory, like the idea, and I guess I'll work through the first one with you, is that you kind of run through this and you're like, okay, this is really stupid. And this is clearly a stupid problem, because when are you ever going to see this in real life? And the answer is never. But if you can do this stupid problem, then you can do easier problems. Does that make sense? Like I don't know, like nobody's ever going to make you alphabetize things in real life or whatever, but it's still like, I don't know why it's a good skill. It's one of those things that like, okay, well, if you can alphabetize stuff, then you actually really know the alphabet, and the alphabet's kind of important if you want to be able to spell things, I guess. I don't know, just shut up and learn things. It's good for you. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do, I was going to write this out. I was going to look for anything with an exponent. Parentheses, there aren't any, so I'm going to look for exponents. Okay, so this is the first exponent, and it's 2 to the negative 3. Of course it is. How fantastic. Okay, so it's going to be all of this. I'm going to kind of separate this out. So this is going to be 2 to the negative 3, which is going to be separated with 1/8, right? Right? 2 to the negative 3 is 1/8. All right, well, that was fun. Okay, so that equals 1/8. And obviously if I had pencil and paper, I would be more pretty about all this. Okay, so then the next important thing that happens, there's no more exponents. So now I'm looking for multiplication or division, and I'm just going to go straight from left to right. So 9 times 7 is 63. Any more multiplication, division? Oh, -1 divided by 1/8 is -8, because I am kind of amazing. 5 divided by -5 is -1. I don't know why I felt like I had to think about that. All right, so that's all my multiplication and division. And then I'm going to look at addition, subtraction. 63 minus 3 is 60. 60 plus 8 is 60. Oopsies, 68. And then 0 minus 1, oops, is 67. Please let this be 67. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to come down here and I'm going to insert a code block. Please let this be 67. No! Why is it 51? Did I do the thing where I suck at math again? Is this actually equal to, is 2 cubed not equal to -8? -8. What did I do wrong? Y'all are like, well, first of all, like, you suck at math. Okay, hold on. Oh, being dumb is so hard. Did I just like drop a negative? I did. I dropped a negative sign because it's minus. See, it also helps not to be stupid. Okay. See, we all make mistakes. Professors, they're just like us. Okay, 60 minus 8 is 52. And 52 minus, right? Okay, I'm going to try this all again. 52 minus 1 is 51. Yay, that's right. I'm amazing. I'm amazing. I'm amazing, except that I got it wrong first time. Okay, now I feel like I have to do this again. Okay, so in theory, you did that right the first time and aren't dumb. So just be careful. In my defense, I was also petting a cat. All right, let's try this next one. All right, so we're doing this again. All right, parentheses, our exponents thingies. All right, so this equals, all right, 5 to the squared thingies. So that's going to be 25. All right, that's fantastic. I guess I should have done parentheses first, but oh, that's right. I should do parentheses first. Anything in parentheses I'm going to do first. So this is 2 divided by 6, 9. Okay, but there's nothing joining the 6 and the 9. They're just sitting there, sitting next to each other. which means that somebody forgot to put something in here. And I think I did this one on purpose to show you that you can make mistakes, like an actual mistake. So, oopsies. If you type this in, you get an error. Yeah, I did that one on purpose for sure. Because I wanted to show you that you could get an error if you just don't have something there. No, kitty, I already made a mistake once when I was trying to pet you. I have to be brave now. Okay, so that would be an error because there's no connector between here and there. Okay, makes sense? All right, let's try the next one. All right, so now we're gonna do, this one has a lot of silly parentheses. Okay, so we want to do the inner set of parentheses first. So there's an open and open and open and open. Okay, so I'm gonna like separate these out. Okay, this is the innermost sanctum of parentheses. Oh gosh, why is it a stupid number? Why are you a dumb number? Okay, 5/4 is like 1.25. Why would I do that to myself? Oh, I see what's gonna happen. Okay, so I'm gonna keep going. I think I did all these on purpose to make sure I get pretty answers. If you get an ugly answer, something really bad happened. So this is negative 5.25. Negative 1 to the negative 5.25 is just going to be, I don't know. I feel like I should know this. Oh, because it's a negative. Yes. So remember, it's negative 1. It's going to be negative no matter what, because it's 1 to the something, which is just going to be 1, right? Because that's the exponent. There's a dog now vying for my attention. All right, so it's 1. See, you get kind of like you talk yourself out of it. I've used colored pencils on tests too to help me get these kind of straight. All right, so it's negative 1, but that negative doesn't matter. That negative happens after the exponent. So I'm going to push it away. So the 1 to the 5.25. And it doesn't matter because 1 to the anything is just 1. So now it's just negative 1. Negative 1. I was really freaking out there for a second. Till I remembered it's just math. All right. So it's negative 1 inside a parenthesis all by itself. So it can come, I'll leave it here. I'll show you all the steps. So it's negative 1 inside a parenthesis by itself. So it can come outside that parenthesis. Come on, little girl. No, not you, kitty. Other little girl. I'm talking to the negative 1. And then that negative 1's inside a parenthesis by itself. Oh, this seems unnecessarily complicated. Kind of simplified here. Ugh, I feel like I'm just going to make a mistake here. So 5 divided by negative 1. Okay, so that set of parentheses is fully simplified. Okay, then I have another set of parentheses, and I have to do multiplication and the division. So this multiplication, I feel like there's so many opportunities to make a mistake here. And I'm hungry. So it's 0 plus negative 9. It's also, I really miss having colors. I really want my pretty crayons to do this with. So 0 plus 9, or negative 9 is negative 9, which is just negative 9. So please let this be 45. 45. If it's 45, I get that much closer to ice cream. Let's go check it out. Oh, heavens. Heavens love us forever, ever. Okay, and I know that you're probably not watching this because unless you just super duper are, which is amazing. If you're actually watching this, you are awesome, or you just really needed it. And that's okay too, because it's just important to go through these, and that's what they're here for. They're only here if you need them, and if you don't need them, you don't need to watch this. And that's okay too. So let's work through these. So again, this is a parentheses that I can do together. This is minus 10. I can make this kind of off by itself. 9 to the 0, if you remember, anything to the 0th power is 1. So that was fun. So 9 times 1 is 9. And I can also do 6 times 10 is negative 60. And 6 times 2 times 9, I guess I can do those in any order. 54 times 2, I don't know. What's 54 times 2? 108? What a stupid number. All right, so that's just 108. Okay, and then 108 minus 63 is something that nobody cares about, except for apparently me when I made up this stupid problem. Something with a 5 in it. Math is hard. 8 minus 3 is 5, and 10 minus 6 is 4. Is it 45? Is it 45 again? That's weird. What are the chances? Well, heavens to Betsy. All right, well, that was fun. All right, I also threw in some exponential problems in here just for practice. Again, remembering that that negative sign applies right at the end, so we can just kind of like put spaces on it, just to kind of like, but the exponents go from left to right, so we're always going to evaluate them from left to right first. So they kind of look like that. So 4 to the 1 is 4, and then 4 squared is 16. I'm better at these. And then that's going to be negative 16. Hopefully. Yay! Okay, I'm getting better. I swear. Okay. I probably lost you way before now, but I'm just doing this on the off chance someone watches the end of this video. All right, again, separate that negative sign because it has nothing to do with what I'm doing right now. I'll need it eventually. And I go from left to right. So, negative 2 to the 4. Oh, that's 4 squared. That's 16. 16 to the 1 is just 16. So that's negative 16 again. That was clever. Hopefully. Yeppers. What did I tell you about yeppers? Okay, so then I got this. And again, separating them just visually because it helps my brain work better. 1 to the 0. Anything to the 0 is just 1. And 1 to the anything is just 1, so that was helpful. 1 squared is just 1, so it's just negative 1. So shoops and dear Lord in heaven, that was emotionally exhausting. But if you can do this, you know what you're doing. And I cannot tell you how many times I have cussed and cried and yelled and beaten my computer because something stupid like this, and you're just like, but, and then you realize you dropped a stupid parenthesis, or you put a negative where it was supposed to be a plus sign, or something like this where you just didn't include something. And that's really, if you ever wonder why professors make you do stupid exercises like this, it's because we're making you practice for troubleshooting, is because we've programmed enough, that we've made enough of these stupid mistakes that we know that going through this process helps you find stupid mistakes. So the more that you can do these kinds of problems, the more you can practice just doing stupid problems like this, the better you get at finding errors in your own code. So I know that wasn't like super fun, but hopefully this is helpful.